Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Premier League review show on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie, and I'm your host for this evening. A longer match week than normal, as Newcastle still needed to play their game in hand after their Carabao Cup triumph a few weeks ago, and they didn't disappoint as they smashed Manchester United and Crystal Palace to gain maximum points. Unfortunately for Arsenal, they dropped points against Brentford, which means Liverpool need two more wins to be crowned Premier League champions after they beat West Ham in the latter stages of that game. Man City continued their pursuit for claiming a top four finish after they beat Crystal Palace. So let's start with the leaders, and that is Liverpool, of course. And this match ended up being a bit more dramatic than planned as Liverpool managed to secure the win very late on in the fixture. Liverpool opened the scoreline with a Luis Diaz finish from close range, but credit has to go to Mohamed Salah who produced an exquisite assist with the outside of his boot. And I think we need to really appreciate how effortless Mohamed Salah makes that pass look as he produces these trivial assists more often than not, and that's his 18th assist of the season, which is quite remarkable. And of course, he's celebrating signing a new contract extension, which is a huge boost for Liverpool and their short-term to medium-term future. But then very late in the game, there seemed to be a bit of miscommunication between Robertson and Van Dijk as Liverpool conceded a late equaliser through a Robertson on goal. Then moments later, the captain, Virgil van Dijk, manages to leap in the air from a corner kick and heads the ball towards the goal to score the winning goal there. It seemed like it was written in the stars for Van Dijk to score the winner as he kisses the badge, and today he officially ended all the speculation as he signs a new contract extension with Liverpool. So that's Mohamed Salah and Van Dijk's future sorted for Liverpool. What does that mean for Trent Alexander-Arnold? Will he follow suit? I doubt it, if I'm being brutally honest, but you never know in this day and age. But that win helps Liverpool extend the lead to 13 points. And because Arsenal dropped points in this match week, Liverpool only need two more wins. So, Arsenal, make sure you're ready to give us a guard of honor when we meet on 11th of May. And let's speak about Arsenal's fixture, and that was against Brentford. And it looks like, the pressure has got to the Gunners as they have suffered two back-to-back draws. In this game, Arsenal did take the lead through a counter-attack that resulted in Partey scoring a side-footed effort, but Wissa cancels the goal as he hooks the ball past David Raya to get the equaliser to secure a good point for the Bees at the Emirates. So it appears Arsenal have pretty much conceded a title challenge, but Arsenal fans will tell you now that their focus is solely on the Champions League after a fantastic win against Real Madrid in the quarterfinals. So let's see what they can do against PSG, who they will be facing in the semi-finals. And for me, they are probably the favourites to win the competition. So it's going to be a very difficult encounter for the Gunners in the Champions League. On to the next fixture. Newcastle versus Manchester United. Same old story with regards to Manchester United, who suffered their 14th defeat in the league this season. And let's be honest, they got destroyed by Newcastle at St. James's Park. So let's go through the goals. The first goal, Tonali opens the scoreline with a great half volley. Lovely assist by Isak as he flicks it over Euro. Garnacho then gets the equaliser for United with a side foot finish. Harvey Barnes makes it 2-1 with a close range finish. He then makes it 3-1 with a solo run and a clinical finish in the top corner. An error from their number two goalkeeper Bayende that leads to Newcastle scoring number four as Ramirez is through on goal and he pretty much places it right in the bottom corner to secure all 3 points. A great win for Newcastle. But before we review their second fixture, we have to talk about Manchester United. This has to be one of the worst seasons from a top six side in Premier League history. They are currently 14th in the league with 38 points. Liverpool, who of course are top of the table, are on 76 points, which is double the amount. So just let that sink in as it can't be ignored. For me, it looks like they are worse with Amorim than they were under Ten Hag. But United fans will tell me to keep quiet and also respond by saying, who cares about the league? As they've just pulled off a fantastic comeback in the Europa League to beat Lyon and progress into the semi finals. So let's shift our focus on Newcastle and back to the Premier League, where Newcastle secured their second win during this match week, and that was against Crystal Palace. Unfortunately for the Eagles, they conceded 5 goals in 2 fixtures during this match week. So let's go through the goals in this fixture. Jacob Murphy opens the scoreline with an absolute screamer. What a goal from the winger, who's having a fantastic season for Newcastle. Eze unfortunately misses the penalty with a lackluster effort, but Newcastle increased the lead with a Gehi own goal, and that one must feel sweet for Newcastle fans as Gehi rejected a summer move to the Tyneside. Harvey Barnes then makes it 3-0 with a left-footed finish. Fabian Shaw then joins the party with a guided header to make it 4-0. And Isak the gunman scores the fifth goal of the game to complete a 5-star performance from the Toonami. The two back-to-back wins help Newcastle move into third place in the league with 59 points. The race for top four is certainly heating up now. And speaking about the top four, Manchester City continued their pursuit as they smashed 5 goals past Crystal Palace. So let's go through all the goals. Palace started the game really well as they opened the scoreline. Fantastic low cross from Ismail Assar on that right hand side. He manages to find Eze, who's in acres of space in that 6 yard box, and he taps it in to take the lead. Palace then make it 2-0 as Chris Richards scores a close range header from a corner kick. City respond and the comeback was on from there onwards as Kevin De Bruyne scores directly from a free kick posting in. Then Marmoush makes it 2-2 with an instinctive finish. Kovacic then makes it 3-2 in the second half with a neat finish from the edge of the box. Edison produces one of his sublime assists to McAtee, who goes around the keeper and slots it in to make it 4-2. Then one of the youngsters, Nico O'Reilly, makes it 5-2 with a nice finish to complete um, the match with Man City claiming all 3 points. City are now fifth in the league table, 2 points away from fourth place, uh, which currently belongs to Nottingham Forest. And speaking of Nottingham Forest, that is the next match that we'll be reviewing right now. So they suffered a surprising defeat by the hands of Everton, who just about nicked a 1-0 win at the City Ground. I say just about because it was a, a winner that took place in the 94th minute of the game as Milinkovic loses the ball, which is very unlike him, to Dwight McNeil. He drives with the ball, threads it to Decore, who applies a dinked finish of some sort to grab the winner and steal the 3 points from Forest. Now, as we're approaching the last few weeks of the Premier League season, Forest need to make sure that they keep up the momentum as all their hard work could go to waste if they don't finish in the top four. Of course, if they finish, you know, outside the top four and uh, fifth or sixth, which would be European football for them, it will still be regarded as a good season. But because they've been pretty much in the top four for a large chunk of the season, it would be a slight disappointment. So, for Forest's sake, let's hope they manage to claim a few wins and manage to secure a fourth, or should I say, a top four finish before the season concludes. On to the next fixture, and that is Chelsea versus Ipswich Town. Chelsea just about secured a point thanks to a late equaliser. And Sisso opens the scoreline for Ipswich with a close range finish. Ben Johnson then extends the lead for the Tractor Boys with a guided header to make it 2-0. Chelsea responds seconds later with a close range finish from Cucurella. Then towards the end, Sancho produces an absolute beauty of a goal, held it right in the top bins to help Chelsea claim a point. But despite the draw, Chelsea have dropped to sixth in the league. So they'll need to do a lot better in order to challenge for a top four finish. Next fixture, Southampton versus Aston Villa. A routine win for the Villains, who probably should have extended their lead if it wasn't for Ramsdale, who ended up producing two penalty saves. The first penalty came quite early in the game as Watkins was fouled in the box by Bednarek. Asensio steps up from on the spot, but unfortunately was denied by Ramsdale, who produces a fantastic save. But then moments later, Watkins opens the scoreline with a looping finish over the keeper. Marlon then makes it 2-0 with a clinical finish in the bottom corner. Then Villa get another penalty as Steven fouls McGinn inside the box. Deja vu, as Asensio hits the same penalty that he did early in the game, and the ball was parried away by Ramsdale. But this time round, McGinn was quick to react and scores from the rebound to secure all 3 points for Villa. Next fixture, Bournemouth versus Fulham. The Cherries returned to winning ways, and it didn't take very long as Semenyo scores in the opening minute of the match with a left-footed strike in the bottom corner, and that win helps Bournemouth move up to eighth in the table. Next fixture, Brighton versus Leicester City, a four-goal thriller at the Amex Stadium, as both teams have to settle for a point. Brighton were awarded a penalty after Cody handballs inside the penalty box. Jack Hodger steps up and finishes it with real calmness, hitting the ball in the bottom corner. Mavididi gets the equaliser for Leicester with a left-footed finish. Brighton are then awarded with another penalty after O'Reilly was brought to ground. João Pedro steps up, but this time he hits it right in the top corner. No chance for the goalkeeper. Great finish there from the striker. Okoli, the centre back for Leicester City, manages to secure a point for the Foxes with a diving header to end the game 2-2. And the final fixture of Matchweek 32, and a huge win for Wolves as they were managed to put 4 goals past Spurs. Nuri opens the scoreline with a fantastic volley, but a wild clearance from Vicario, who headed the ball away from goal rather than punching it. But then, unfortunately for Spurs, another calamity moment from the keeper that leads to conceding another goal as Vicario pushes the ball onto Jeff Spence and the ball rolls into the back of the net to make the score 2-0. Mattis Tell grabs one back for Spurs with a close range finish, but then Strand Larsen makes it 3-1 with a tap in. Poor defending for Spurs yet again. Richarlison then scores a header to give Spurs some level of hope as they manage to bring the scoreline to 3-2. But then Wolves got the crucial and final goal of the game, and it was their talisman Cunha who nicks the ball off Bergvall, drives with the ball, and applies a clinical finish to end the game 4-2. Wolves now move up to 16th in the table and only 2 points away from Spurs, who are currently 15th in the league. So that is my match week 32 review. Or do now is present our FPL Manager of the Week. Let me bring them up to the screen. And they go by the name of Zimbo, and the team name is called Sofurquas. So hopefully I pronounced that correctly. And Zimbo has managed to gain 111 points, which is a crazy number in this match week. So well done to Zimbo on a fantastic tally there. Now, in terms of my performance this week, probably less said the better, as I only managed to gain a measly amount of 52 points. So I need to perform and do a lot better in order to finish in a more respectable position, as there's not too many match weeks remaining in the season. So before we do the predictions for match week 33, let's quickly present the table for our FPL. So let me bring it up for you guys. So in first position, you've got Vipin Mohan, who has moved up to the top of the table. His team is called the Special One. You've got Jake Harrison that's moved up to second place. You've got BT moving up to third. You've got Jordan Smith remaining in fourth place. Chris Barnett has dropped to fifth. Tayo Aziz remains in sixth place. Muya Fabiano Jr. Has moved to seventh. I think that's a new name in the top 10, so big up yourself. Anas Patla Abubakar, the FPL Docker, has moved up to eighth. Vaughan Clark has not moved at all. He's remained in ninth place. And unfortunately, Eddie Clark has dropped to 10th in the league. So big up to all the FPL managers there. Some big titles, exceed 96 from BT. So some big scores in this match week. So yeah, not long to go until we conclude our season. So we're approaching the closing stages of the season, and let's see who manages to be crowned as our FPL manager of the season. So not long to go with regards to that. Uh, Before we close the show, let's quickly present the fixtures of match week 33, and I will then present my predictions of those fixtures. So the first game that will be played is between Brentford versus Brighton. Both teams coming into this fixture with a draw each. I'm going to go for a surprise win, and I think Brentford will nick a 1-0 victory for this game. And Crystal Palace versus Bournemouth, this would be an exciting fixture. I think it will end in a draw, and I think the game will finish with a 2-2 result. Everton versus Man City. I'm expecting Man City to win this fixture. I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory for the City Blues. West Ham versus Southampton. I'm also expecting West Ham to claim a home win, and I'm going to go with a scoreline 2-0 to the Hammers. Aston Villa versus Newcastle. This is going to be a very good game to watch. I'm going to go for Newcastle. I think they're in such good, rich vein of form. Looks like they're sort of their form can't be stopped right now. They're in full flow right now. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory for the Toonami. And the Sunday fixtures, you've got Fulham versus Chelsea. So you've got a West London derby right there. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Ipswich Town versus Arsenal. I'm going to go for an Arsenal win. I think they'll just about get one. I think they're on cloud nine right now after the winning their Champions League tie against Real Madrid. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory for the Gunners. Manchester United versus Wolves. They're also on cloud nine right now after their win against Lyon tonight. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory for United. Leicester City versus Liverpool. I'm expecting a win for the Reds, and I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory. And the Monday night fixture, you've got Spurs versus Forest. At one point, this was going to be a sort of a top four um, fixture where both teams were fighting for those honours, but Spurs are very low in the pecking order now. I'm going to go for a Forest win. I think they'll nick it with a 1-0 result. You've got Man City versus Villa. This is going to be a huge game as well. Both teams competing for a top four finish. I'm going for a City win, and I think the scoreline will finish 2-1. And the final fixture is Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. I'm actually going to go for a draw. I think Palace, I know they've lost two games back to back, but have shown that they always seem to step up against the big teams on occasions. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. And to even add more salt to the wound, I'm going to say Nketiah will score the equalising goal for Palace against his former club. So that's my prediction for match week 33. Um, Before we conclude, which I can see we've got a couple comments here. So let's quickly read them out. Um, Daz says, Big up Ozzie, when's your match preview? My match preview will be tomorrow, hopefully, Daz. So make sure to look out for that. Um, and that's it. With mainly coming up on the weekend, Ozzie, can you see any changes? Um, Speaking of WrestleMania, I will probably be doing a small segment during my match preview, as I did last time when it was the Royal Rumble. So if you're a wrestling fan, I'll briefly touch on that. Um, with regards to that huge event that's taking place this weekend. Um, in terms of any changes, I think you're referring to, is that for Liverpool or that for the rest of it? I'm not too sure. Um, but in terms of the match, definitely be doing a watch along for that fixture. Um, I'm not expecting a wholesale changes to the team. I think because we're only playing one fixture now, I expect Arsenal to field the strongest team possible. Hopefully, there's no further injuries. I saw images of Trent Alexander-Arnold returning to training, which is good news in terms of us achieving our goal this season, which is to win the Premier League. We need two more wins, so hopefully we can secure that um, this week, and then of course next week we can secure the win to be officially crowned as Premier League champions. So only a matter of time before that happens. Um, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what reception Trent gets. I know he has been around the squad in sort of in attendance when we've played in the last two games. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Trent. But I don't expect us to make too many changes to the team. It'll pretty much be whoever's available, whoever's best in line to start, they will feature in this game against Leicester City. So should be an interesting game. So please do look out for the watch. I'll be doing one this weekend. So it should be a good game to watch. And that is it for today, guys. Thanks, Daz, for your comments there. Thank you for everyone watching. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Um, in terms of upcoming content, of course, as I just mentioned, match preview tomorrow, watch along this weekend. I'll be doing a show in about an hour's time, which is more Liverpool focused content to uh, discuss the big announcement that came earlier this morning with regards to Van Dijk signing a contract extension with Liverpool. So look out for that. I'll be starting the show at 12:30 in the early hours of Friday morning. So yeah, that is the schedule for this week, and that is also it in terms of today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to speak to you all very, very soon. Goodbye.